Courtside Seats post-game show. Tonight, the Patriots hosted Big Brother University of Virginia for the first time since 1996. After a 20-point loss last season, Mason stole the show tonight, winning a thriller 63-59 at home. I'm Cody Norman. It's my partner, Daniel Zimmett. Dan, what's up?
Not much, man. Incredible game. Unbelievable game. What a way to kick off the season. I can't think of a better way to go into the Patriot Center, game one, senior year, and win it like that. Let's run on the stat sheet real quick. First, Sherrod Wright with 15 points. Great game out of him. We're going to touch on him a little bit later as well. Marko Gujanic, who Cody called the most game-ready freshman that we've ever seen here. 6.7 rebounds, a solid performance out of him. Johnny Williams, we're definitely going to touch on later in his contribution as he led in minutes tonight. He had 11 points and 3 steals. Brian Allen had 13 points, 5 assists, and 2 really, really big three-pointers in this game. And finally, for UVA, no surprise to Cody or I, Joe Harris, 19 points, 8 rebounds. We expected him to be a key player coming into this game, and he was leader of all scorers in the entire game.
Yeah, Joe Harris had an incredible game for UVA. It was certainly a challenge for guys like Anale Okoloji, Sherrod Wright, anybody that we could possibly throw at him on the perimeter. And he did a very good job. Like you mentioned, 19 points, 8 rebounds, doing it both scoring and on the boards.
Yeah. I mean, unbelievable performance out of everyone. I mean, this is how you're supposed to come out hot in the season. I mean, I heard a lot of people joking, we took Bowie State to the wire, and we're going to beat UVA in this fashion. I mean, I don't know how that quick transition works in 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously you can't put too much weight in exhibition games.
True.
But on the same note, you know, we played stellar. You know, I think the performance that we had against Bowie State was just subpar. It was kind of, you know, us going through the motions tonight. Came out with some incredible energy. The crowd was fantastic. You know, sold out crowd of 9,840 fans. It was amazing. How many points do you think that the crowd gave us tonight?
Honestly, I'm giving all 63 to the crowd. I think the crowd played such a factor in this game as they do in every game. They're up the entire time. I don't think I've ever gotten the chills as much as I did tonight. The pregame video that they played to get everyone hyped that ended in Sherrod's shot from last year against VCU, that did it for me. I got the chills. It was done from there. I was hooked.
You know, I'm not sure I'm going quite as high as the 63 points. I will say, Coach Hewitt always mentions that probably 5, 6, 7 points, something like that, is he can attribute to the Green Machine,
right?
You know, and how great the Green Machine is. Of course, tonight, fabulous. I don't know that I'm giving 63 points total to the crowd. I would say I'd give them another 6, 7 points for 12 to 13 points. I think is what the crowd gave us tonight in a 4-point victory.
You know, in all seriousness, I think you're right. It is more like 6, 7, 8, 9 points. I think you really saw it when UVA was on the line.
Yeah.
I think they got as loud as they could get at that point, especially on the intentional foul that was, I will say, a little questionable, at least from my standpoint. And he missed both free throws, which was huge for us. Yeah. And then on Brian Allen's 3-pointers. I mean, talk about the crowd getting up. You know how Mason fans throw the paper. I thought it was raining paper from the rafters. There was so much coming down. That's where I really saw the crowd play an impact.
I don't know. Offensively, I like to, of course, Coach Cody again, I like to step away from the offensive side, look at the defense and rebounding. And to me, the way that the crowd made the biggest impact and the spot that they made the biggest impact was on the defensive end, that full court press. You know, you think back, we were down 4 points at one point, early to mid second half, and the crowd really took over. The defense really took over, and we had 2 consecutive steals, accounted for 4 straight points. We tied the game back up, and eventually took the lead on that momentum.
Is this the best crowd you've seen since you've been here? I know that's a blanket statement, and I know that's a tough question. I'm putting you on the spot. Is this the best crowd you've seen?
It's certainly the best crowd I've seen on opening day. Certainly the best crowd that we've seen with the opening tip. I'm not sure that it certainly rivals last year's VCU game.
Absolutely, and the atmosphere too.
Right,
the atmosphere has to rival VCU game.
Yeah.
You can't imitate the effect that they had when Sherrod Wright hit that shot.
Right.
But the general atmosphere, I think, was similar to the VCU game.
Oh yeah, I mean the crowd was loud. The crowd was on its feet for 40 minutes tonight.
Oh, it had to be.
It was
been.
absolutely phenomenal. Way to go, Patriots.
Yeah, absolutely incredible win. We're going to come back with all about this win. We got green and gold stars. We're recapping our 3 keys to success this season. Wow, I'm struggling so far here. You're not going to want to miss it. Stick around.
We're Catholic Ministry, and you're watching Courtside Seats.
Welcome back to the Courtside Seats post-game show. Remember, you can follow us all season long. Check out Twitter at Mason_Courtside, Facebook.com/Courtside Seats, and as always, the website, courtsideseats.onmason.com. The other day, we gave you some of our keys to success. Let's see how we fared. Dan.
My first key was limit the turnovers. We got 10 turnovers tonight, or only had 10 turnovers tonight. Very positive. I wanted to keep it under 11. Way to start the average out right. We averaged 15.2 last season. Great start for the Patriots on the turnovers. I really thought that the point guards did a really, really good job of seeing where their passes needed to go. Second key, take and make the 3. We shot 7 for 14 from 3-point range. Unbelievable, 50%. UVA shot 8 for 21. They were at 38.1%. Great job taking the 3. As I mentioned earlier, Brian Allen, 2 huge 3-pointers in this game. Great job taking and making the 3. We were 2 for 2 on keys so far. Finally, win the rebound battle. Not as much success. We lost 32-26 on the boards. However, we won on the defensive board, so I guess you could give us half credit on that, possibly. We won the defensive boards 23-21, which meant we only had 3 offensive boards to their 11 throughout the entire game. So although we won on the defensive boards, we really got to get those offensive boards and second chance points up. A lot of points off UVA came from their second chance points. So out of my 3 keys, I'm gonna give us a 2.5.
I got Dan over here always looking for partial credit on stuff. You know, let's take a look at how we fared on my 3 keys for tonight's game. The first one: spread the ball, spread the scoring. You know, tonight we had 14 assists as a team. 4 people had 8+ points, and we had 8 total scores. So most everybody that got significant minutes for this team was able to get onto the stat sheet in the scoring column. So excellent job there. For number 2, win the transition game. We had 6 fast break points, 10 points off of turnovers. It did an outstanding job. Outstanding job defensively in the full court press. Very good job on the half court defense, trying to contain Joe Harris, who is a very good player in the ACC. And of course, number 3, attack the basket, get to the line. I think maybe I should have added attack the basket, get to the line, make the free throws to this one. We did get to the line. You know, we were 8 for 19. We got to the line 19 times. We were in the double bonus with 6 minutes left. Drew 20 fouls for UVA in the game. You know, we just didn't knock the free throws down. You know, those will come. Even a guy in Sherrod Wright who shot the ball 85-86% from the free throw line last year just struggled. You know, the guy struggled mightily. Everybody struggled mightily. Marco, all the way down the list. But what do you think? How concerned should we be about free throw shooting at this point?
You know, it's really too early in the season to tell, I think. Coach Hewitt said in his post-game press conference that he really wasn't concerned with the shooting so far and thinks that it will really, progress as the season goes on. We shot 42% or 42.1% to their 60% from the line. Terrible. I think at one point in the game you said we'd be up 2 to 3 possessions. Yeah. If we could just hit 1 free throw per chance on the line. I mean, there were times where we missed both. I think who started out the game 0 for 4? Was it? I think it may have been Marco. Marco started out the game 0 for 4 from the line. Yeah. Maybe they don't shoot free throws in Serbia. I'm not sure how that worked out.
I think they shoot free throws in Serbia. The only reason that I'm not too terribly concerned about the free throw shooting at this point is because when it counted down the stretch, in the last minute or so of that game, we did have Brian Allen get to the line and sink some free throws. We had Johnny Williams get up to the line and knock down 1 out of 2. So we hit some big free throws. 3 out of the the 8 that we made for the game were within those last 30 seconds of the game. So I'm not too terribly concerned with the free throw shooting at this point. Like Dan said, they're going to come. As long as we can get to the line 19 times a game, I'd like to see us get there more. I'd like to see us average between 22 and 24 trips to the line per game, but we'll start with 19, and outstanding job overall.
I mean, you mentioned winning the transition game was one of your keys. Right. Do you think that, and we talked about this on the pregame show, do you think that we are running the ball as much as at least we think that Coach Hewitt wants them to? Are they really running as much as at least was advertised?
I think they are. I think they are getting up and down the floor. I don't think we're scoring a whole heck of a lot in transition, but we are getting the steals, and we have 5 steals today. We are getting the steals. We are getting the assist numbers up. We're getting the ball up and down the floor, and just because we're not technically scoring in transision, we are scoring at a faster pace.
I do absolutely agree with that. I see us running up the court, whether we're doing a half-court offense or not. We're absolutely running up the court, and then we'll call a play.
Right.
That has to give us another 3, 4, 5 seconds to help run plays. And a lot of the time, I'll even see Coach Hewitt call 2 plays.
Yeah.
If they'll run a play and one gets busted, Brian Allen, Corey Edwards, someone will bring the ball up to the top, and Hewitt will go ahead and call another play.
Yeah.
That's a great opportunity that we need to take advantage of, being able to run 2 plays per possession.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that being able to run those plays, and the guys that we have on this team, at least today, those plays didn't get busted because somebody was out of position, somebody didn't know where they were supposed to be at the right time. It looked like we were running the plays, we were running them, very efficiently. It just was getting stopped up by UVA, and credit to them for pulling the ball back out and knowing what to do, getting back into position to score.
Exactly, absolutely. We're going to step away for a second. We got our green and gold stars coming up after the break. You're not going to miss this. You're watching the Courtside Seats postgame show here on Mason Cable Network. Welcome back to the Courtside Seats post-game show here on Mason Cable Network or courtsideseats.onmason.com. Daniel Zimmer joined by my partner Cody Norman. We're recapping an impressive Patriots victory over the University of Virginia, 63-59. Cody, the score tied 10 times this game. Yep. Lead changed 16 times. How important was a close victory, at this point in the season?
I think a loss at this point in the season, a close loss, which thankfully didn't happen.
Right.
A close loss at this point in the season would have crushed us. At this point in the season, when you lose close games like that, especially with the way that we shot free throws, I think it would have been an absolute detriment to this team and to the demeanor of this team going forward. Thankfully, we were able to, despite poor free throw shooting down the stretch, we were able to escape with a 63-59 victory, and it was impressive. It was outstanding. The way that we closed the game out, the tough shots that we made, shots by Brian Allen, shots by Johnny Williams, a couple of free throws by both of those guys down the stretch, it was huge.
Yeah, my favorite stat out of those is the lead changing 16 times. Yeah. That means every time we were down, we were able to persevere and really pick everyone back up and make those shots that we needed to make. It seemed like for a majority part of that game, we were really trading baskets with them.
Yeah.
They would go down, make an impressive shot. We would go down, make an impressive shot. It really showed how kind of young our team is that they were able to really rise to the occasion and play at such a high level.
Yeah, we played with incredible energy tonight.
Yeah,
I
which we think may have been from the crowd.
All 63 points. And the energy that we played with tonight, I think, is what really helped us push through in a 63-59 victory. Such a close game. I think that a lot of that had to do with our tenacity down the stretch. The way that we played defense in the full court press, the way that we played defense coming out of the full court press in a half court set. Guys like Anale Okoloji, guys like even Sherrod Wright, who we think of more as a scorer. Sherrod played some great defense tonight. Brian Allen the same way. Brian Allen was absolutely huge. We thought Corey Edwards for sure was going to start the game. He played 8 minutes tonight.
And had a much better second half, I will say, than a weak first half.
Yes,
I'll give him credit on that.
Yeah.
I think that, and I hope that the tenacity is not just for tonight.
Yeah.
I hope that it's a continuous thing throughout the season. I think a little bit of it, and certainly in the beginning of the game when J2 airballed his shot, and we said that's either a combination of I haven't played basketball for a year and a half because I've been hurt, or I'm excited because it's the home opener. And I think some of that energy is going to come from the home opener, and it'll slowly just become, once you get to the dog days of the season, it'll slowly just become part of the process to winning. But I really hope that we can keep up that energy throughout the year, because I think it's going to help us a lot, and we need the student section to be there as well. Because as we mentioned throughout the entire show, they're a major part of it.
Yeah, and we mentioned a little bit earlier too, how big is that win against an ACC school? We don't want to think too far down the road and talk about the births to the NCAA tournament or births to NIT tournament, but this could really pay dividends in what really is or widely considered to be a much weaker CAA this season.
Yeah, I think UVA, they had some injuries tonight. They're an incredible team. They started 3 freshmen and 2 juniors, and they're going to be good as the season progresses.
Yeah.
I think each game moving forward, that win is going to mean more and more. As UVA picks up a bunch of wins, I'm not going to be surprised if they win 20 games this year. Even if the 3 freshmen start the entire year, I'm not going to be surprised if they win 20 games. That win is going to continue to mean more and more as our season really progresses as well. And we play teams like Maryland, USF, Bucknell, some really big games going to the Virgin Islands soon. Playing those teams is going to help, and beating UVA moving forward is going to help.
Well, obviously, the obvious leader for UVA, Joe Harris, with his 19 points, 8 rebounds. Who stepped up tonight for us? Who stepped up as the leader of the Patriots tonight?
I'm still not convinced that we have a leader. I still want to go, leader by committee. Whoever's up, whoever's hot, whoever, maybe if the leader gets hurt, someone else can step up. I think we need to stay by committee. If I had to pick someone tonight, I'd say maybe Anale Okoloji really had an incredible game. I saw at times John Arledge picking guys up.
Yeah.
He had a fabulous game. So if I had to vote for someone, I think I'd give it to Anale. Really stepped up as a leader, especially a guy that didn't play at all last year. He has no experience with any of these guys in a game time situation. So for him to do that in his first game as a Patriot really is impressive.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to go with Brian Allen. Leading the charge from that point guard position today, more so than last year. Last year, I think we saw Brian, very raw, somebody who was, very obviously playing significant minutes for the first time in his college career. But we saw Brian take another step today.
Absolutely.
Not just scoring the basketball, not just making those big shots down the stretch, but when we talked to Brian after the game was over, Brian said, I planned that from the start. It wasn't something that was like, I'm hot right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this game over. He said, I knew that if we had a chance to win today, that I was going to have to step up and be a leader and take charge on this team, and he did.
He thinks, and he said in the post-game press conference, this is the most skilled team that we've had, or at least since his time here, which would be last year. And we had Player of the Year last year.
Yeah.
Ryan Pearson was Player of the Year last year, and he thinks this year's team is better than last year's team. That's something big to say out of Brian Allen. I like the way Brian Allen played, and someone that we didn't mention, Johnny Williams.
Yeah.
Johnny Williams, 11 points tonight, 3 steals, led in minutes for the Patriots. How would you evaluate his performance?
Johnny, Johnny had such a quiet 11 points.
Yeah.
You look up at the scoreboard, and it was very obvious, guys like Anale, guys like, Sherrod Wright, Brian Allen, it was very obvious that those guys were scoring in high numbers. But, you look up at one point, and Johnny Williams got 11 points on the scoreboard. Johnny played incredible basketball after he let loose the air ball early in the first half. But, he was able to... a big reason why I think Anale and Marco and guys like that were successful underneath the basket was because Johnny Williams was able to sneak out a little bit and knock down that mid-range jump shot tonight.
Well, that's exactly what I was about to mention. His mid-range jump shot is phenomenal. Yeah. If he can catch the ball in the perimeter and take one step in and go up, I mean, he's tall enough to begin with. I think he's about 6'8". Yeah. He can jump high. And he shoots high too. So he can shoot over just about any defender that's on him. If he can continue to nail that mid-range jump shot, don't be surprised to see him lead the team in minutes and possibly scoring moving forward.
I think it's an interesting question that once Eric Copes comes back, the way that John Arledge and the way that Johnny Williams meshed together, and the way that Johnny and Marco, when those two were in the game together, where does Eric fit in? When he comes back, we thought he was a sure starter on this team. Mm-hmm. But do you take somebody like Johnny Williams? Do you take John Arledge out?
I think that Eric is still a starter. I think you got to give him the starting opportunity. He was the preseason starter. You got to see what he can do. This is, first of all, a good problem to have. This is a very, very good problem to have. I think what you do is you got to leave Johnny Williams in after the way he played tonight. Mm-hmm. He played extremely well, and I think he has the ability to stay at the 4. But then you get into a different problem in what do you do with Anale and Marco. And you saw tonight Marco coming off the bench, in which he did a pretty good role. But I think that you're going to find an issue. If you put Eric in, you're going to find problems moving the lineup further down in the 2, 3, 4 range, not so much in the 4, 5.
Yeah, I think the biggest asset that Eric provides to this team is, you mentioned we got out-rebounded. We got out-rebounded on, not on the defensive end, but we got out-rebounded offensively. 11 second chances that we gave up on the boards. That's something that, at least in my mind, doesn't happen if Eric Copes is on the floor, because he's got that wide frame. He's a big body. He's somebody who does the dirty work, gets in there and rebounds the basketball. Whereas we love the fact that Johnny steps out and hits that mid-range jumper. We love the fact that Marco does. We love the fact that John Arledge does. That's great. But in order to be successful, we also need them to be in the paint and rebound the basketball as well.
You're absolutely right. Let's actually check out some highlights from this impressive 63-59 win over the University of Virginia. We'll be right back with our green and gold stars of the game. Welcome back to the Courtside Seats postgame show here on Mason Cable Network or on courtsideseats.onmason.com. Cody Norman, Daniel Zimmett. It is that time for the green and gold stars of the game. I'm going to go first, give mine. Sherrod Wright is my green and gold star of the game. He was 6 for 9 from the field, 15 points, 33 minutes of action, and he had an incredible hot start. I think that his hot start really propelled not only the fans, which really got into it, but the rest of the team. Kind of kick-started everyone, got everyone in the mood and going strong, and really propelled this win.
I'm going to go a different way. I'm going to go a different way. I think my number one player today, the MVP, our green and gold star, goes to Anale Okoloji. You know Anale is my boy. I love Anale. 3 for 5 tonight, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 24 minutes. But this is what I'm going to do with those stats. Right here, crumble up the stat sheet. And Anale, what Anale brought to this game was beyond stats.
It's true.
Anale was the energy guy. He was the guy who started off the game all fired up. You know, we talked about leaders on this team. Anale was the emotional leader. You know, he was the physical leader. He was the one that was getting out there when we needed a bucket, when we needed to stop. It was Anale Okoloji who we turned to, and you saw that because Coach Hewitt did not play too many minutes without Anale Okoloji on the floor.
Anale was well worth the wait. That's all I have to say. His year sitting out for transfer from Seton Hall, well worth the wait. I remember one play. He scored a basket, stole the inbound, dove, called timeout. We got the ball back. 4-point swing off one play that Anale made. Did it change the whole outcome of the game? You can never tell, but certainly changed that moment, certainly gave us all the momentum. That was a play that definitely stands out in my mind that he showed.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. There were several plays tonight where, you know, Anale, more so than most of the other, or anybody else that I saw tonight, Anale was getting the ball under the basket and going up strong. He was not to be denied. You know, absolutely not to be denied today.
Do you think Sherrod is going to be our leading scorer this year? He was leader tonight. Do you think he'll continue to be leading scorer?
I definitely think Sherrod is going to be the leading scorer. I think with, you know, right around 15 points is what he's going to average this year. But you know, as I mentioned in point number 1, we have to spread the ball. We have to spread out the scoring. We'll have to rely on a number of other guys to step up. We're going to have to rely on Johnny Williams and John Arlish to step up. Von Gray once he gets back. Brian Allen with his 13 points. I think those two guys, Brian Allen and Sherrod Wright, really going to have to carry the load scoring-wise.
They absolutely are. I mean, and I think we saw hints of it tonight of what we're going to continue to see throughout the season. And I think a lot of their scoring is going to come from Corey Edwards. We saw him driving in, and he likes to drive and jump and then pass it. But like you mentioned, he needs to develop something like a jump stop or at least figure out where he's going to pass it before he goes into the air. I think he's one of those players that drives, sees the crash, and then decides where he wants to go. I think if you're going to drive like that, and that obviously turns the ball over a lot. So I think if you're going to drive like that and leave your feet, you need to premeditate where you're going to go with the ball. But at least that's going to be able to give us a lot more points if he can develop that skill. He's certainly going to be able to kick it to guys like Sherrod, like Anale, like J2 with that mid-range jumper. And that's going to really be able to help us develop those open looks.
Well, let's see if Corey can develop that mid-range jumper, or let's see what Corey Edwards and the Patriots respond with when they're back in action Tuesday, November 13th. This Tuesday at Bucknell, they'll be back to the Patriot Center on Saturday, November 24th at 4 p.m. Don't miss it.
We also got blood drive coming up soon. We got
coming up
on Monday, November 12th from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Dewberry Hall. We lost to Delaware last year in the blood drive. We don't lose to Delaware in anything.
No.
Well, we lost in basketball last year. I was very upset about that. We're going to beat Delaware this year, but we certainly don't lose to them in blood drive. We need to get, I think it was 1,200 pints of blood this year in only about 12 hours, 11 hours of action. So make sure you go out, donate blood, Dewberry Hall, and you can maybe get one of these guys as we've done every year. And you know how we love some bobbleheads.
Love us some bobbleheads.
All right, special thanks to Jake McLernan, Brian Dombrowski, Nathan Garduno for the show. Cody Norman, I'm Daniel Zimmett. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. We'll see you soon.